Hello, this is Beverly. It's time for the Intuitive Interior I Ching reading. For June, we are entering into the double Yang Horse Fire energy because not only are we in the the Yang Fire Horse year, we are now going into June, and June has always been the month of the horse. Now, the energy of the element changes, and this time we're in a Yang Fire Horse month. So everything I'm about to tell you is going to be doubled. And the horse energy itself is, it's just fun. It's playful. It's joyful. There's an image here of a horse running above the ground, all feet above the ground, with the shadow cast beneath them, with the sun shining on a beautiful blue sky day with a few clouds. One of those perfect days that just feels like anything is possible and everything is boundless, and you have so much joy and enthusiasm for all that life has to offer. Effortless vitality are the words that are on the bottom of the card. It is they call it a peach blossom star. The horse is. It's a it's like, just people love to be around that level of vibrancy and enthusiasm. So peach blossom is kind of what usually is brought up for uh, like relationships and attracting those that love and things like that. That's why you hear a lot of people who get married in June. Now, I know in the dark ages, or back in those days, that was because it was about that time that people had their annual baths, and so everybody smelled good. But there's also that element of growth. That a lot of the spring flowers are there. You're getting some things, some crops that are ready to harvest. There's just a lot of celebration that can abound with this. The message from the element of the Yang fire is to check often with the heart for the state of the light within and the source of inner joy. What warms the heart keeps the inner fire burning. So this, again, is a month full of joy where you're going to seek that out. For the horse energy, that symbol, it's a sign of vitality. It's associated automatically with the sun, and so we've got double sun going on here. It is essential, though, to spend your activity level during the daytime hours, because at night sometimes that movement that can lead to feelings of agitation. It can lead to feeling of like restlessness, and so go ahead and keep yourself busy during the day. Use that extra energy that you're going to have in the form of activity, exercise. It's a good day, good time to get out and enjoy the day. Now, the clarifying cards, the I Ching card that is part of this, it's number 38, 28, I'm sorry, 28. It's called excess. And it's the image of a man overburdened with a ton of packages and bundles that is on a tall pole that he's carrying. And the words here are stress, overload, exhaustion, obsessiveness, gluttony, burdens, worry, and the breaking point. That doesn't sound anything at all like what I was just talking about, does it? Except that when you think about the sun is just constantly shining. It never goes away. It's like being trapped in a room with no way out of, that's all, the lights are on all the time. I mean, people use that as torture. The Scandinavian countries, when there's 24 hours or practically 24 hours of sunlight, there's festivals to get excited about. Finally, the sun is not going to be shining as long, and there are things that you have to do in order to go within, to pull inside, so that you don't overdo it. I mean, too much of a good thing is still too much. The context here is knowing when to go back, when to pull back in, when to see when is it time for me to say, okay, enough. We're going to stop that. It turns into greed. When is that desire for more, too much? When is so I think again about we can talk about money and hoarders and collectors. At what point in time is it a problem and no longer just a neat little quirk? The other question that you'll find that comes up a lot is, what is our own natural rhythm? This is where meditation can come in, or contemplation, so that you can see, it's like, well, what are my intentions? Goal setting is a good time to look at this, because there's a lot of energy. Well, where are you going to run to? Is this the, are you in alignment with where you feel like you need to be? That is going to be a big chunk of our focus this month. Some of the clarifying cards is this next one, number 10. It's called treading. You see, there's an image of a woman dressed in a white kimono walking on top of what looks like a tightrope above waves. Some of the waves have calmed, and the image of the full moon is present not only in the sky but also in the water. And there's some clouds too that kind of obscure the sky. The words here are conduct, self-awareness, proceed with caution and sensitivity, correct behavior, and act responsibly. Well, now that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, because, here we were just talking about this unending enthusiasm and pursuit of joy and fun and pleasure. And now that sounds like a bit of a buzzkill, but it kind of has to be. So this focus line is number 2, where it says the stage is set, the costumes are ready, and the entire troupe of actors are on the stage. The trouble is they all seem to be trying to play the lead role at the same time. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that it's your job to sort them out, or to demonstrate that actually you yourself are the best person for the job. There's a seat reserved for you in the audience where you can sit back and chuckle at the drama. So this is the correct behavior. This is the act responsibly part. This is when you get to look at, because it's the focus line 2, that is when you get to look at, well, what are your motivations? This is an inner work month. Again, that I've been noticing there's a trend. There's a lot of introspection this year because there's so much focus on the outside world with all that yang energy, the yang fire, the yang horse. So yeah, we got to go inside and say, well, what is our motivation? Are we trying to take over? Are we working with the team from a place of collaboration, or is our ego getting in the way? What is it? I like this right here. It says, in an ego-driven conduct never takes responsibility for the glitches, but is quick to claim the credit for any success. In situations of private unhappiness, it is the ego that wants to avoid all responsibility by placing the blame on some other person, superstition, or outside force like fate. I know sometimes I have a tendency to blame my poor sleep on the full moon because I've noticed a connection. But I also have to pay attention to, well, what have I been eating? Have I been drinking? Am I allowing stress to take over? Or, do I want to just like put it all out there and say, nope, it's the moon? We have to look inside to make sure that we're following our own laws of our right timing, and to allow our ego to just take a back seat at times, because I know everybody can have their feelings get hurt when they think that their way is being disregarded. And sometimes our way isn't the right way. The middle path is the best. It's the best path, because you get to be aware of, what's, all the other sides, but that gives you the most firm footing. Let's see, there was one other piece I was looking for here. It says, when you act from essence, you act with awareness, sensitivity to all the variables in play. including the feelings of those around you and the demands of the time, and how your actions might promote a greater sense of harmony and understanding. And that's why that figure is walking the tightrope, because you fall off that and you make a big splash, but doesn't exactly get you where you want to go. The next focus card, clarifying card, is number 8, called Holding Together. This focus line is number 1, and the image is of, looks like 4 different schools of fish. One at the top are a little thinner, multicolored ones. There's a pale color, almost a pale white color that is in there. Several bluish type fishes, and then a group in front that are orange with one single fish kind of facing in the opposite direction of the rest. This is called union, cooperation, solidarity, membership, teamwork, participation, and making a choice. Again, this one now being focus line 1. This is all about us, again, going super deep. What type of connections do we want? What do we have? And, well, how have we been contributing or not contributing to groups? The focus line says becoming part of a community means there certainly will be confrontations that you as an individual would never face. But when you are willing to give your best for the good of all, the spirit of teamwork deepens. The potential for success in any collaboration will be measured by the degree to which each member is inspired and devoted in their contribution. The primary text of this, it talks a lot about leadership and how in groups there's this intangible energy that connects people, but there's always that core person or group of people that are the ones that are forming it. So think about a cell. You have to have that nucleus, and then you have the other bonds that kind of circle around it. It's like a school of fish. There is some group of fish that started moving a certain direction, and then everybody else kind of collects together. And so while there's that center group that help form the contagion, the others are aware. And so there becomes this ability to sense when it's time to move. Here's the thing, though. We have to also look at, well, is this the group I want to be part of? Is this the direction that I want to go in? Because just because the group think is taking you a certain direction, that doesn't mean that you have to go with them. So kind of coming back to this card, there's that one fish that's looking at the group going, wait, I'm not sure I want to go that direction. There's a shark back there. I think I'm going to go this other way. So sometimes you do have to, again, evaluate, go within. Is that the group I want to be part of? The leadership piece, we all have, most have some kind of unique capacity for leadership, but we do have to decide, am I doing this for the right reasons, or am I doing this for an ego reason? That again comes back to the whole treading and that middle path and becoming aware of how much you're willing to take on. Is that just going to be another excessive thing on my pole that I have to deal with? That is the message for number 8, holding together. The final clarifying card is number 18. This is a long one. It's called Work on What Has Been Spoiled. There's an image of it looks like a middle-aged woman planting a tree, but because there's a tree, there's a reason why that all the other trees have been burned. So it's having to fix what got broken, having to go back and rebuild and reimagine what is going, because when something gets destroyed, it never gets put back the way it was before. In Japan, there's a tradition called kintsugi, where a pot is broken and then the pieces are joined together with gold. That is to celebrate the cracks, to celebrate the imperfection, and still retain the functionality and the memory of the original piece. We can do that in so many ways. If we have a problem with a friend, there's the repair process. The success of a relationship always depends on the repair process and the willingness to take accountability for your part in that. The words on the bottom are healing, correct past mistakes, make repairs, clean up corruption, restore balance, and responsible action. So we've got a lot of words here to this month. Responsible. We're talking about teamwork. We're talking about making repairs, making amends, uh, and looking at how are you taking on too much. This focus line is number 3. So it is about taking all of those personal growth lessons and moving them into the outside world. So there's again another theme here. So line 3 says, when circumstances have reached such a critical point that any attempt you can make in the direction of correcting the wrongs, it's a step in the right direction. Don't be afraid to take it. The sooner the better, because until this much needed cleanup has happened, there can be no new beginnings. It's again, you cannot clean a house until you've picked up the trash off the floor. Then you can see the floor to clean it. This is so when I was first starting to learn a lot of different energy work techniques, my teacher used this fantastic analogy that I still love using to this day. And that is of a compost pile. You throw all of this stuff into the bottom of this compost pile, and you just keep on throwing things in there. And then after a while, it's like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this anymore. So you put dirt on top and you cover it up, and then you just try to ignore it. But then what happens? Some little weeds, and you think, oh, well, these flowers are growing. This is so pretty, but there's a little weed on top. So you try to pull the weed off because you think you've got this beautiful flower garden. Well, except that when weed is connected to all of that soil, and when that comes out, you're left with a container full of, well, very rich compost. And nobody really likes to have to expose that compost unless but you have to deal with it. You have to clean it out. This is what healing work looks like sometimes. You start on one problem and it opens up a literal can of worms, or a literal container of compost. That still should not be a reason to not address it, because that is not a healthy thing to keep inside of us. When I'm working with clients on a personal healing basis, I use the body, I help them and visualize the body as their partner in healing. So if they're talking about a particular situation, I ask, well, how is your body responding to this? Is there a part that feels heavy or tight or hot? Is it tingly? And then we work from there, because the body is wanting to assist us in getting rid of that mental, emotional, and spiritual compost. We can rationalize a lot, but there is not an excuse to ignore, because you can try to ignore things. The universe doesn't allow that to stay underground. You get to either deal with it in an easy fashion, or it will come with what I call the cosmic 2x4 and knock you upside the head and make you deal with it, because we want to be in balance. The universe wants balance. And when you are not willing to correct the imbalance by not dealing with a bill that needs to be paid, a pile that needs to be gone through, a health issue that should be dealt with at an earlier stage versus ignoring it until something bigger happens, a problem with your partner, if you let those little things go and fester, they will erupt on you in ways you had no idea that they would. And usually it's very unnecessary. I was having dinner or lunch with a friend, actually just yesterday, and talking about a situation with her housemate. Something as simple as leaving crumbs on the countertop. Address it when it first starts happening, and that way it stays a little problem and doesn't turn into something big. It makes everybody feel better in the end, and that's part of the good communication, but that is part of the correcting past mistakes. If they weren't aware that they were leaving crumbs on the countertop, but you were, and you didn't say anything, and then you got mad at them for not correcting something that they didn't know was a problem, well, then that's on you. That's not on them. They weren't aware, but you were. Okay, so we don't want to be dumping this compost onto other people. So if you need some help in addressing some of that inner compost during this wonderful, beautiful time of great illumination, please let me know. I would be absolutely delighted to work with you around that. Whether it is a feng shui piece, a stuck energy space in, for space clearing, or for internal confusion. We'll just put it like that. So thank you so much. The June dates, because again, we are dealing with double yang fire horse energy. The June dates, there are really only 3 that are powerful for potential challenges. So the specific dates for this forecast go from June 5th through July 6th. So yeah, this is going to encompass all of those 4th of July gatherings. June 7th, June 19th, and July 1st are the 3 days that double the energy of conflict. These are the year breaker and month breaker days. Those are the days that if you want to change a bad habit, fantastic day to start a new program. If you want to sign contracts, maybe consider not doing it on one of those 3 days. Or if you're wanting to, they might be great days though for you to say, you know what, I'm done with this job. You could put your 2-week notice in, or just, end it on those things. Those are great days for transformation. It's just you need to decide how significant and how dramatic you want that transformation to be. I personally prefer to work on ways that are a little bit easier for the body to assimilate, but to each their own. All right, hope that works. I hope that helps. Have a great June, and I look forward to hearing your stories and comments. Bye.